seriously look at
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. My name is Gina Crabtree. It's been my honor to serve as the president of Unclassified Professionals Senate this year. And I really appreciate your time on a Thursday afternoon. We have a lot of folks to hear from today. We have a couple of items of business to take care of. But before I get to those, I just wanted to mention that I'm sure most, if not all of you, have heard that the WSU family, and in particular the UP community, lost one of our members this week. So Deb Byers was laid to rest today, and I hope that you all keep her family in your thoughts and prayers this week. First of all, I want to start with thanking those members serving on the UP Senate this year. And I'm going to introduce you and hold your applause till they've all been introduced and stand up. And then I'm also going to introduce those that have been elected for next year. Take off my glasses. Serving on the Senate this year in the Division of Academic Affairs, Janelle Darr, LAS Advising Center, Kathy Downs from University Libraries, Sally Fiscus in Registrar's Office, Mandy Konechny, College of Health Professions, Maria Martino, Biology Department. You're supposed to be standing, yes. Sorry if I wasn't clear there. Cheryl Miller from the Fairmount College of Liberal Arts and Sciences Dean's Office, Brett Morrill from the University Computing area, Susan Norton, Satellite Campuses, Mark Picaro, Online Learning. From Campus Life and University Relations, Quinn Hall, University Relations, April Kime, Undergraduate Admissions, Sheila Surrender, Office of Financial Aid. In Administration and Finance, Ellen Abbey. From the President and General Counsel Division, Belinda Bishop. And from Research and Technology Transfer, Gabrielle Dodash. We also have at-large senators. This year, our at-large senator is Heather Perkins from CCSR. Our ex officio members are Frankie Kirkendall now, right, from Human Resources, and Connie Dietz, our past president from Cooperative Education. And we have two invited at-large members, Jessica Treadwell from Planned Giving Associate Women Foundation, and Andy Stipp from the Radigan Student Center. So if you would help me recognize these folks. We had our elections, and some of the folks who just stood will be remaining for another year from their term, finish out their term. But some new folks have also been elected to the Senate, so those who will be serving next year, who I did not just introduce, are Becky North from University Computing, Laura Manning from the Vice President for Academic Affairs Office, Tanya Witherspoon from Media Resources, Michelle Barber from Registrar's Office, Amy Barfield from Counseling and Testing, Erin Mackey from Campus Rec, and those are the new people. So welcome. I think I have to take this off. Is that all right if I take this off, Brian?
Sure.
You sure? I'm gonna drop it. Sorry. Actually, I don't need it except for that you're recording. Okay, I just wanted to briefly mention a couple of changes to the Constitution that were approved by the Senate this year, and then we need to have a vote of the members present, and that will just take a few minutes. This has been posted on our website, so hopefully you've had a chance to look at it if you have interest. The main changes have to do with eligibility for membership, as well as eligibility to vote in our elections. So a lot of language is added here to clarify who should be eligible to be a member of the Senate as well as to vote for the Senate. And the goal was to ensure that if there are folks who are not represented by the classified Senate or eligible to participate at the faculty Senate level, that they are represented with the Unclassified Professional Senate. So there's new language here in Article 3, Section 1, as well as in Article 4, Section 1, under the electorate. And then there were just minor administrative changes to handle the kinds of things that we don't need to do anymore, like printing ballots, giving every member a printed copy of the Constitution, just things to help us get into the electronic age. So I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the Constitution as amended.
Motion to approve the Constitution as amended.
I didn't thank him. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? All right, great. Thank you very much. Well, we have great crowd presenters for us today. Put this thing back here. And I'm going to introduce them all at once in advance, and then they're just going to come in a lineup as they give us our updates. So first of all, we have our president, Dr. Bardo. Then we have Vice President for Campus Life and University Relations, Wade Robinson. Vice President for Academic Affairs, Tony Vizzini. Vice President for Administration and Finance, Mary Herrin. And our new Executive Director of EEO, Dr. Francisco Gonzalez. So I will just ask them as one finishes, the other will come up and give us their updates. And then we'll have time for questions at the end, but also a couple folks need to go, so they'll ask for questions at the end of their time. And at any point, I'm sure that folks are happy to answer questions that you might have, so be thinking about those questions. So please welcome President Bardo.
Thank you, Gina. This has been quite a year already, and proves that it's just now starting. I think we're going to continue to see some wild times here for the next few years. There's been a lot happen. We've got a lot underway. One of the big issues that Susan Norton, for instance, is leading us through a real look at adult learners and the way in which we think about how we are going to be educating adults for the future. There's a lot happening nationally in that area, and we need to be part of that given our location. There's tremendous movement also in our admissions areas all across the whole university. A lot of it happening with the freshmen, but also we're seeing with transfers, international students, graduate students, a lot of movement there as well. As you can see, the new residence hall is on schedule and on budget. We like that a lot. And it isn't that you can't get a room there, but you probably are getting close to waiting list time. That the building is getting pretty close to full. We still have plenty of spaces on campus for students who want to live in residence, but the new hall is doing what we would hope it would do. So that's a really big thing that's happening. I will be talking at the next board meeting about our expectations for tuition and fees. And my primary goal on tuition is I want to do, if at all possible, a 3% raise for each of our groups on campus, merit raises. But we got so far behind over the years on salaries that I'm trying to inch us forward each year on some movement toward getting us back up to where we're nationally competitive. And I do recognize that Wichita is a little bit lower cost of living area, but I really do want to continue moving us closer to the average for people in our general job categories. So that's my biggest issue with tuition. We are going after some fee changes. If things go, and I will share with you some data that there's some other data I'm going to wait a little while to show you because it's still quite volatile, but the stuff that isn't volatile I'll share with you today. And looking at enrollment for next year. And there's some costs associated with enrollment increases that we're going to try to pick up in fees. And so a lot of our requests are going to be fee related, associated with the fact that, for example, with having 800 18 to 20-year-olds living right in the middle of campus, any of you who had teenagers know that if you don't help entertain them, they will find ways to entertain themselves. And the ways they find won't necessarily be all that helpful. So what we are trying to do then is provide more night activities, more evening opening hours for offices, and those fee-related offices are going to have extra staff. There's no other way to do it, so that's going to cause a fee increase. If enrollment does what we think it's going to do, we're going to be dealing with 600, 800 more cars next year than we've been dealing with this year, and so we're going to have places to put the little devils. We keep trying to get our engineers to invent levitation machines, but they're not quite ready yet, so we're going to have more parking, and that means we're going to have to lease it and build it. There's no other way to get there, and so that's a fee. That's just the reality of some of the things that we're dealing with. So we're going to be focusing on those. I've asked for Mary to separate out the athletics fee from the other fees for two reasons. One is that we're not increasing the athletics fee, simply showing students what they're actually paying for athletics, which while will feel like a lot is quite low compared to our sister schools that are similarly situated. But secondly, it allows us to stabilize funding for athletics at a time when we are obviously not going to go backwards. We've made too much of a national splash, and so we're going to have to hold our own where we are. And that means we're going to have to stabilize funding. So the combination of students really, I think, have a right to know what they're paying, and secondly, to stabilize it. Those two things will speak to keeping it separate. So those are the really big issues we're going to be talking about. There are a few other minor things in the tuition, but fundamentally that's where we're looking. And I'm going to be recommending to the Board of Regents a 4% tuition increase. I doubt if they take that recommendation, given the politics of this year, but I'm going to recommend it anyway. And the clear focus of that is raises. That's just at the core. I just feel like we have to continue doing that. So we'll go as far as they will let us go with that. Just so you're aware. I wanted to share with you a couple pieces of data, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the Innovation Campus and show you something that I think is kind of cool, and I'm not even a modern architecture guy. So it's moving along. What you see on the board are the differences between last year's and this year's total applications as of Monday morning. As of Monday morning. If you look, the three lines at the bottom are the basic 11, 12, 13, 14 lines. You see 11, 12, and 13 pretty much showed the same track. And we shifted a lot last year in how we do business, both with recruiting freshmen and with recruiting international students. But there seems to be an impact across all areas of the university, and we seem to be really hitting on all cylinders. And so if you look at total applications for this year, we're up about 61% across all categories. 61%. That represents something that I've never seen before in higher ed, where you bump everything. So we're anticipating somewhere still between 600 and 1,000 new students. I think 600 to 800 is realistic, but there are some mathematical models that are actually showing numbers that make me really scared. So we're making the assumption that those models are just not stable yet. And if they start showing that June 1st, we'll have an entirely different set of conversations. But pre-registration models are invariably unstable, so we're not worrying about those. We are worrying about the ones based on these data. What these data suggest is that we're going to have, according to this one's point prediction, 677 new students, but close enough. 600 to 800 is probably a good range of planning, and that means somewhere between 600 and 800 new cars, just realistically. And so we're going to be putting the cars for the residence hall over at 29th Street, and we're going to have 24-hour-a-day shuttle service for the students who are on campus. We're also looking to lease lots on 21st Street, and we're building a new lot out of 29th Street to make sure that we have enough spaces to put the extra people, so there'll be more shuttling of people around the campus, and we'll be encouraging shuttling. We're going to continue to move that forward. If you look at what happened with the freshmen, it's really even more dramatic. The blue line represents the number of applications that Bobby's people have been struggling to get through. There's a reason why we've added about 5 or 6 staff to the admissions area, just to handle the sheer numbers of people who are applying, as well as the numbers of people who are doing tours and the number of contacts that we're having to make. People say, well, was that a result of basketball? Well, basketball had some impact. There's no question that it has. We can see in states that we haven't target marketed, we can see some changes in the number of freshman applicants. So if North Dakota sent us 3 applications last year, they probably sent us 5 this year. But it isn't like they sent us 400. Right? It's just a little difference. Where we have target marketed, however, there is a shocking difference in the numbers, and they really are quite dramatic. That doesn't mean that athletics didn't have some impact there. We think it did. That if you've now heard of us, you're more likely to click on an email we send you. You're more likely to look at a tweet that we send you if you now at least know our name as opposed to not. And so we think that the name recognition helped us a lot. When you look at Oklahoma, for example, where we did target market, last year we had about 30 applicants. This year, probably, if I remember correctly, 570-ish, give or take a little bit. And so it's a real difference. Sedgwick County, we're up about 25% on the number of applicants. The state of Kansas, we're up like 44%. So we're seeing real movement across all areas when we're looking at freshman applications. It's also interesting now that we have admitted substantially more students for the fall than we had total applications last year. And those number of admits will continue to go up as students continue to finish their records, get a record, we get the records, and we get their updated ACT exams and those other things that kids do to get admitted to school. So we anticipate that just in terms of the freshman class alone, we're likely to see a 300 to 500 person increase in the freshman class. That number is that they show up there is a little bit scary, a 40% increase. I'm not expecting that. I really am anticipating 15 to 25% more freshmen than last year. And that would be, if you think about the state of Kansas, a 2 or 3% move is a big move. So if we're talking 15%, it will pretty much shock the state, and that's fine. We're shocking everybody else, and as well shock them. But that's kind of interesting stuff. Questions on any of that with regard to admissions? We're hiring people as fast as we can to teach them. We're putting people out in Tony's office is looking a little red-eyed. There's a reason. Aside from other things, but yeah, we won't go into that. They really are trying to hire as many people as possible to get this moving along and make sure that we have people to work with the students. We've been adding staff members as well as faculty members, and I think our sense is that if the numbers turn out about like we anticipate, that we'll be in pretty good shape. If they turn out a lot more, obviously we'll deal with it. We'll work with it and then adjust as we go. But that's where we are. Questions on any of that before I move to another topic? It's a lot more fun, I think Bob would say, it's a lot more fun to be on this end of it than on the other end of it in terms of trying to get this little thing started. But I really do feel like everybody has done great work. And this is a day to think a lot about Deb Myers, but I would say Deb led a lot in terms of getting our financial aid right and making sure that our financial aid models matched what we were trying to do with our admissions models. And aside from just being a wonderful lady, we will miss her a lot, the work that she did as well as who she is as a human being.
John,
please.
Multicultural?
Oh yeah, multicultural, thank you. The multicultural numbers. These are, one of the things about using the model that we're using is that folks study regularly how we get to students who we normally had a hard time getting to. And so if you look, our African American applicants are up 276% over last year. 276%. We went from about 250 to almost 1,000 African American applicants. Our Hispanic applicants are up over 107% year to year. So what's happened is that we're going after, the marketing channels that they pay attention to. And so they're actually seeing us now. Underrepresented minorities this year represent 26% of our total applicants. And people who define themselves as minorities represent 38% of our total applicants. So a very major shift for this university in a positive direction. These are the workforce of the future, and we've got to get them to college if we're going to have any impact on them. And while we still have a lot of work to do to make sure that these students have the kind of education they need to be successful, we now know we're getting to them. And so now it's a matter of continuing to work with the schools to improve their education and improve their opportunities to learn, to be here, and to be ready. So I'm really excited about that change. Thanks for mentioning that, Wade. That's been one of the most important changes, aside from just the sheer numbers. Now, the other really big issue that I've been working on this year and paying a lot of attention to is our Innovation Campus. And I wanted to share with you the latest thought on this, and this is thought as of, I think, about 7 o'clock last evening. So this tells you it's about as new as it gets. And John Tomlin doesn't know I'm sharing this with you yet, so it is what it is. I haven't had a chance to tell John. He sent this to me, so what do you think? And I thought, well, this is great, I'll share this. Sorry about that. This is where Wheat Shocker used to be, or will used to be, or whatever it is we're going to call it, come October. If any of you love Wheat Shocker, go touch it one last time. Go in and smell it one last time, because it will go away. The smelling it thing I won't even go to, but what we're doing is we are building. We're going to be building a new innovation campus building starting in January and February. It's going to be about 160,000 square feet. It will contain about 20 experiential engineering laboratories, about 50,000 square feet for business research centers, space for incubators for new technology businesses. And the little wing that we're showing here on the side is for a business that we're negotiating with right now out of Silicon Valley that we think will agree to come. We think we're pretty much there. We just have to get all the bits done and sign a formal contract. And that will be another wing on the building that we will be adding to it. What this means is that we're going to push that building up right on 17th Street so that it becomes the face of the Innovation Campus. And we won't be closing the road that runs currently by Wheat Shocker. Instead, it will become the service road for the building. And so the big garage doors and other things you need to have engineering stuff going in and out of a building will be on the west side of the building facing physical plant, so that what you basically have over there is a corridor of services which fit. That means we're going to have a new entrance to the east, and we'll be building a more monumental entrance there than the service road. And so that we will start also this fall, and we should have done by the time we get the building up and operational. Even if we stub it off and it doesn't go anywhere, then it's just a turnaround in the beginning. But the intent is that it will go forward. The master plan shows a number of other buildings that are going to fit up against the new building that we're building. Of course, it's building 2, even though we're starting at first. That would be too easy to start at building 1. The building 1 will be the more monumental building, will be the place that you want to bring people. If the president of IBM wants to come and talk to us, we're going to feel like here she's walking into a place that matters. And that means you have marble floors and wood trim and that sort of stuff, which we simply don't have the money for right now. So what we're building first is a real working building with concrete floors and open ceilings, those kinds of things, to make it workable. The initial plan calls for that building to have a 22-foot high first floor. That means, and that's a really tall first floor if you think about it, but the intent is there that you can use what are called high bay. It's a high bay laboratory where you can put really tall machines to do a lot of work there. So we're pretty excited about that. Also, the potential of the mezzanine. If you go up, excuse me, from there to the north and get to the end building on the north, you have what is called Innovation Campus number 5, and that will house the business school and a new innovation center that will be open 6 days a week, 24 hours a day, and be packed with stuff for kids and faculty and staff to get in and play with, to create new ideas and new innovations. And we're going to surround all that with tech transfer staff to allow us to be able to move things to market that can make a difference in people's lives. So that's the general outline. The center of that becomes a grassy area. We're trying to get to put a combination of new structures with a nice environment so that it's not just building with a bunch of parking, there'll be parking, but where the interior really creates a nice courtyard kind of feel for people to get out and have an opportunity to have a little bit more sheltered area to be outside. Questions on that before I take this slide down? It's really pretty cool, and it's kind of maturing. What I want to share with you today is the artist rendering of the building that will house the School of Business and the Innovation Center. As you see on the ground floor, the Coke Trading Center. So when you walk in, there'll be lots and lots of trading screens that you actually see motion and movement and people doing things associated with trading stocks and bonds and commodities. And when you go up, the wall going up, our intent is to put video tiles on the wall. Video tiles are a new technology that when you hook them together, they become ultra high-def televisions. And they can be as big as you want, as many of them as you want. And so you can either have artwork there, or if you're trying to do something cool and show something, you can do a full-scale video all the way up the 4 stories of the building. So the intent is to make this a very different kind of a facility to really speak to the nature of what we're trying to do with innovation. Now, the way the campus is structured is the current loop road becomes the edge between the old and the new campus. And the new campus design will be quite different than the old campus design. So that we're going to try to keep a lot more traditional on our side of the road and go with a lot more modern on the other side. To really designate a difference in direction and a difference in intent. But it is phenomenal the response that we're getting to this. As you've seen in the papers, there are already 2 companies that have agreed. We're negotiating with a third. There's a 4th one, I understand, in June. The board will vote whether or not to allow them to come here. We have a company from India that was going to locate in Cincinnati. They decided to stop until they figured out whether this was something that they wanted to be part of. We've just never seen that kind of reaction from people, but all the way from the local Chamber of Commerce to the governor's office, people are talking about this. I did another interview about it this afternoon. So it is getting a huge amount of attention and a huge amount of support. So it's been a lot of fun to see people rallying around it. It's also been fun to see people actually willing to talk about investments in it. Not just what we're going to do for me, but I'll come to the table and actually put money on the table. That's a very different way of thinking about things. When they're willing to say, hey, wait a minute, I like this and I'm willing to put my own money into it. We're going to try to use this to spur development along 17th Street. And then we're going to empty it onto 17th Street to create traffic flow. So if you drive 17th Street, sorry about that. But the way in which you get restaurants and shops to know that it's okay to locate is they do traffic counts. And if you can get the traffic flow up enough that the counts are right, you've got a higher probability of getting restaurants to open and to be able to function there. So our intent by dumping it onto 17th Street is to really cause development on 17th Street. I'll stop that, please.
So you see this as the second building, even though it's number 5,
Yeah.
to go up?
Yeah, the numbers of the buildings have to do actually with the order in which they were thought through. So the building number 1 will be the headquarters building, so you want that to be building number 1. Number 2 was going to be the first laboratory building. Then we anticipated, oh well, this is going to move, so we'll see, NetApp or someone take another building, we'll keep going. And it never dawned on us that the business building would be ready to go in, that quickly, so it became number 5. So we probably will renumber at some point this, call them what they are, but it's so much more fun to get everybody confused when talking about this kind of
So you see this going up in second?
I do. We're going to start raising money for this summer. That's why after we have the video. And this is the lead building on our campaign that we're getting ready to start. The expectation is this will be a $70 million facility, just to give you a sense of value. And that will include like I said, the B school, the Bardo school, and then also this totally interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary innovation center that is for everybody. And we really do want it to be for everybody. We're hoping also, if things continue to go the way they are, to put another residence hall there and to try to tie the residence hall together with the innovation center so that if a student can stumble around at 3 o'clock in the morning, as students do, and go in a protected way between the two, or we're talking about can we afford to put a tunnel in, for example, between the residence hall and the innovation center, so that a student, if they think about a 19-year-old woman, 3 o'clock in the morning, they really want to go walk around campus, and said she can use her card and just pass through to the new building by going through a tunnel. So there's a lot of ways in which this is going to be a very different place, but we're going to strongly encourage entrepreneurship, innovation, and creativity. That's what this is about. Other questions? Well, I just want to leave you with one thought then, if there aren't other questions, and then we'll turn it away. Consider being part of a university where creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship are making the future. That's where you are. That's Wichita State University. Thank you all very much for everything you do and for the great year. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity, Gina, to come and share thoughts and be quizzed and so seen, but I'm sure there won't be any quizzing going on. So, campus life and university relations. Obviously, I want to say thanks to the staff for what they do. There's points in time where you get to reflect on what you do and who you work with. This week has been one of them. So anyway, I do appreciate all that the staff does. A lot going on in the division. John mentioned briefly. Shocker Hall, you can't miss it. 784 beds, on schedule, on budget. Dining hall, 450 seats for the entire campus. There's been a lot of questions about that. Not just restricted to the students. It's open just as Fairmount Commons is for the entire campus community. There will be a yet to be named convenience store / emporium on the front corner. It'll be a coffee shop type place, and so that'll be right along the Yale walkway that's being finished. So Don Linger is our construction man, crew, team. They're doing a fantastic job. If you see a construction worker, give them a hug. Tell them thanks. They're working hard. August 6th is their day, and they know it. Beggar's not an option. Fairmount, we do have this, we have 784 beds. We have right at that number of applications right now for the building. We will move to a priority wait listing with first assignment to Fairmount Towers. We're about 25% full in Fairmount Towers. We're looking to do some things to enhance that as a residence hall to make it an attractive place to be. We want to have students who are in Weehawken move to Fairmount. Our upperclassmen and our international students, that is our intention. We are going to improve our international menus for those individuals who are looking for food similar to what they have had at home. We're going to have that both in Shocker Hall and in Fairmount Commons. So that's a major focus for us at this time, is the dining experience. Sodexo is our service provider. I appreciate what they do, and they're willing to improve what they're doing along those lines. The Radigan Student Center, on budget and on time. We should take the majority of that building on July 1st. Won't be moved into on July 1st, but it'll be open where you can see what's behind that nifty drywall that's hiding the grand entry. And it's going to be spectacular. And to me, the rec center is the best part that exists today. July 1st, the best part you're going to see is the third floor ballroom entertainment area. It is phenomenal. With the outdoor balcony, other rooms, revamped ballroom, it will be what you see kind of in a hotel caliber entertaining space. So as far as having events, we think it'll be just tremendous. So again, Don Linger's our crew. If you see a construction worker, give them a hug. You know, I don't know if they'll hug you back. Be careful. So they're doing great work. One of the things we're really focusing on in the division right now is student programming and student life. A lot of things have to happen in order for students to be happy and stay here. And so we're looking at the living learning communities in Shocker Hall. That's new here. They're going very well. We have over 225 applications for the LLCs. If you hear LLC, that's living learning community. And the colleges are all participating in a couple non-academic ones as well. So those are going to change the student experience that we have. We've worked very hard. Student involvement will be moving from the umbrella organizationally in the Radigan Student Center to the Dean of Students. It's not going to change what they do. It's simply going to change what part of the org chart they're in, because they're doing great work right now and we expect that to continue. We've worked very hard to change the culture in the Greek community. We think we've turned a corner from the accountability, responsibility perspective because of what our undergraduate members are doing. We've grown that population about 27% the last year. We've added 6 new chapters. We will add more, both IFC, I give you a lot of acronyms here, fraternities, sororities, and multicultural council members as well. And so we're looking to expand that. Certainly the multicultural interest from students is really going to help drive membership in those organizations. So I'll be brief, leave it at that. There's a lot going on. Bobby Shop, financial aid, I'll make some announcements next week and a little bit of the organizational structure there. We're doing a search right now on our conduct office. We're expanding our conduct services. We're looking to improve how we handle conduct, UBIT, meet our requirements under Title IX, Volleyball Campus Safe. Again, a bunch of fun stuff that some in the room get to deal with, but we have some federal mandates that we're going to be working with on a campus-wide basis and expanding how we train, educate students, faculty, staff, and then help meet the unfortunate backside when education didn't work. We also have to deal with that as well. I'll leave it at that. Any questions for me on happenings in campus life and university relations? Excellent. Thanks. It's banquet season. Still get 2 buttons buttoned. So I'm heading off to the Student Support Services banquet. For those that you don't know, Dima De Silva is retiring after many years, leading the SSS trio program for us. So I don't know what her schedule is in and out of the office, but if you see her, give her a hug too. She's dedicated a lot of time here to WSU. So I'm going to leave now, turn it over to Mary, but I also would know, got a birthday boy in the room today. Everybody know who's the birthday boy? Tony Vizzini. If you remember the last meeting, we both had gold checkered jackets on, 2 gold ties, 2 great pinstripe suits, and it was unplanned. I'm just kidding. I'll let you sing happy birthday to him, and I'm leaving. So, all right, thank you both. Yeah.
We'll have to sing happy birthday when he comes up. So, good afternoon, and I appreciate being able to visit with you a little bit today. I'd like to start out with 2 very special thank yous. First of all, I'd like to thank all of my staff for all the work they've done to get the projects done. It's taken a lot of overtime and effort, and they have been real troopers in getting this done. Second of all, thank you. Second of all, I want to thank all of you for putting up with everything that's been going on here, from dust all over your car, trouble finding how you get from point A to point B with all the construction. And I jokingly told the president that when this is all done, what we need to do is have a big community picnic with a car wash, which we could all participate in and have clean cars for once. So we'll see what happens with that. First of all, I just wanted to make an announcement of something that happened today. We had a breach in our motor pool system last night, and it erased pretty much all of the reservations that are coming up here in the very near future. So if you have made a reservation for a motor pool car, call the police department and remind them about that. There will be an email blast coming out about that, but I just wanted to alert you all to that. Next, I will go to our favorite subject, parking. We will be going back to a hang tag system. Right now, you do not have to have a hang tag to park on campus. You will, starting this fall. And all of the lots will be colored lots. We'll have student lots. We'll have some combination faculty, staff, student lots. We'll have faculty-only lots, and you'll be getting a lot more information about this. But in addition, we are working to get some parking spaces at the northeast corner of 21st and Oliver, you know, that shopping center that's there, where we can park several hundred cars. You will not need a hang tag to park there. Also, you will not need a hang tag to park up at the Metropolitan Complex unless you are a housing student and there is being a new parking lot constructed for the housing students, and they will have their own tag. And the shuttle bus will be stopping at all of these places, so I think you'll be able to get around just fine. Other than that, I think that's the major things that are going on in our area other than the other things, so I'll turn it over to the birthday boy.
It's been a great year. I mean, I took on this position about a year ago. You know, I was promised a roller coaster ride. And you know what? We're still climbing that hill. I just can't wait till we go, start moving, but it's been exciting so far. Academic affairs, we've been doing one thing a lot lately, and that is searching for people. They seem to be getting lost on us, and we gotta find them. But we are currently, I joke, I know. My birthday, you gotta laugh. See, thank you. Thank you very much. We are currently in the search for 3 academic deans, looking for business, health professions, and education. We are also in the final stages of hiring our director of KMUW. We are in the last final stages of filling in the CIO position here at Wichita State University. So 5 high-end searches going on all at the same time. So to my staff, to all the staff involved in getting this done, you're doing great work. Keep it up, keep smiling. It will be over soon. And then we can move on and get these new people in and moving forward. But it's been exciting. One other thing that's we're up and running with is our one-stop. This is one of Dr. Bardo's key issues. When he came here and I arrived, one-stop was the word he was always saying. One stop, one stop, one stop. Okay, one stop is good. And we went from a physical one-stop to a virtual one-stop back to a physical presence, because you can't really do one without the other. If you're not aware, the physical one-stop will be in Jabbar Hall on the first floor. It'll be real convenient to our students in Chakra Hall. They can come across, which is no longer a street. They can cross the promenade, whatever we're calling the pedestrian mall. Promenade. No one wants to cross a pedestrian mall without pedestrian.
It's not a grassy knoll.
Grassy knoll is reserved for the Innovation Campus. We'll work on the promenade. Okay. Shocker Way. Okay. The pedestrian mall. And crossing to Jabbar, there'll be access points for visitors as well, and parking in that sense. But we're also in the launch phase of the virtual one-stop. Matter of fact, we have launched the virtual one-stop. Students have the access of gaining services 24/7. And this is a key aspect, because as we go more and more online, our students may not always be here. And we know full well that students tend to need services oftentimes when we really aren't available to provide them. So we've contracted with Blackboard to provide those services when we're not really available. The one-stop will be up and running. That will help us to bring those services to a local place. It's really frustrating if you get bounced from one place to the other. And it's also important for us to deliver the very best services to the student at the point of sale, in other words, when they come in. And so we can handle probably 80% of the questions right up front, deal with that, which will hopefully mean as the workload then transfers away from all of you in some sense, it will basically allow you to be more efficient and better at solving those harder problems, which can't be handled in a few minutes at a one-stop and where they get referred. But that's okay. That's where we specialize and we'll do a good job. One of the things I'm really proud about is that the fact that the Senate has approved, and it's front of the Kansas Board of Regents in the May and then finally the June meeting, is our honors baccalaureate. This, I want to say thank you to all those that have worked on it. This is innovation. This is trend-setting. This puts us in front. We lead Kansas, definitely, but we actually lead the region. We are the first honors college in the state of Kansas, and we say that now because Emporia has agreed that they're moving to an honors college. Even though the propaganda had said before that they had an honors college, they had a program similar to ours. And they also realized, along with our colleagues at KSA and KU, that an honors college really is the key thing that our students need. But our faculty went forward with one step further, and to be able to offer a student that type of degree that really embraces knowledge in the interdisciplinary sense, to pull in from different areas, to really take that student who's a high achieving, an IB student in high school, to come to Wichita State for the HB. And so we have something that no one else has. We will be a university of choice, first choice, to those students who aspire to that kind of learning. And what it does for us is it actually reinforces our arts and sciences, our liberal arts and sciences, because most of these students will have kind of that aspect that they really want to say, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to put it together and really advance. A lot of them will go off to grad school or professional schools. They will change the world in so many different ways, and they have gotten their foundation education here at Wichita State. It's a proud moment for us. One thing that Dr. Bardo put up is IC 1 through 5, and the numbering is exactly that. So the other philosophy is this: if you ever want to get somebody, and the joke is that you go to a high school and you get 2 greased pigs, and you put a number 1 on one of the greased pigs, and you put a number 3 on the other greased pigs. You can know where I'm going, and you release both of these greased pigs into the school. Well, they'll catch one, and they'll catch number 3. And they'll spend 2 or 3 days looking for number 2. So, 1 through 5. And the key thing here is that we are really blending that whole sense of innovation. Innovation is key to a lot of the things that we're trying to push forward. One of the things that I've challenged my deans with is to come up with a master's program in design. And it's like that commercial when the family comes in and they present the faucet to the architect and say, I want you to design a house around this. It's a moment commercial, if you don't remember, I remember these things, and they go in and it's like, oh yes, of course I can do that. Well, the basis of this design is to ask the following. We create a program at the master's level that recruits students based upon talent, not necessarily credentials. Can I admit a student here based upon portfolio, not necessarily GPA? Because what I want is talented students who want to learn and work in an environment where design and innovation rules. Doesn't matter if you've been through a bachelor's program or you know what, that's great. What I want to know is, are you talented? Are you innovative? Will you work in an environment where your skill set with other skill set will combine together? And so take students from the fine arts, take students from the business school, take students from engineering, take students out of the Elliott School, psychology. We have so much innovative, talented students. Throw them into a maker space, because that's on NPR. I've heard this phrase. So support KMUW. The maker space is where it's at, and we're creating maker spaces. IC 1 through 5 are maker spaces. And the one thing in IC 5, which is the Innovation Center, is a 20,000 square foot playground. And the architects have been on this, and we kind of threw the monkey wrench over the transom midway through the design and said we would like 20,000 square feet of space. And that was it. That was the faucet being delivered. And so what for? We said, well, innovation. Okay. And they've gone enough down the road, but they keep announcing, well, you know, Tony, can we talk with you a little more on what you mean? I go, innovation. Space is flexible, open. We know the kinds of things that we want in there, but you know, by about 3 years from now, when that building actually probably starts going up, 3? Oh, 3? I know this man, 2.5 probably, but that's okay. But when that building's going up, we'll be a little bit different thinking at that point in time. But a place where students, all students come together to learn and work in an environment of innovation. It is going to be exciting. And that's what's on my list. So at this point in time, let me introduce you to the new guy. Let's go.
Thank you very much for the invitation and the opportunity to be here today. My name is Francisco Gonzalez. I'm the new EO Director, the Office of Equal Employment Opportunity, also the Title IX Coordinator. And one thing that I must stress after listening to Wade, do not hug somebody without their consent. Not even the first thing. Because otherwise we'll be having a chat. I just want, be mindful of the time. I'll try to be as brief as possible. We just talk about a few of the things that we're working here at the EO office. As you know, our office is brand new. The duties that we have were being done by the general counsel before. So we're getting our office together. We just hired support staff. My assistant, she started 3 weeks ago, I believe. So we're working on very basic things at this time, our web page, designing forms, brochures, things like that, that hopefully we can get them implemented soon and then be more visible on campus. We also have been trying to work with you, with the stakeholders on getting to know the institution, and also listen to your concerns and your issues so we can address them as we move forward. As part of that, just two things that we're doing with the UP folks. I'm part of the grievance and the evaluation committees that were set up here. We're looking at the revision of the grievance procedure and also the evaluation procedures that we have here. So that's an ongoing process. A couple of other things that we're working here institutionally. We are reviewing the sexual harassment, to the point, sexual harassment rules and the discrimination policies from our policies or procedures. That's an ongoing process that started last year with the General Counsel and folks at HR. And hopefully we can have those two new policies implemented or approved quick, very soon. The segue to that would be that we'll have, once those rules and new policies are implemented, we'll have to do training on those policies with you folks and some of the other stakeholders. So that will be a big component of what we do later in this year on the implementation phase, getting to meet, visit with you and talk about the new requirements and the new processes arising out of the new policies. On the federal side, we have some new guidelines on what is called Clery and VAWA, which are federal rules regarding basically safety issues on campus and also anti-discrimination procedures. Wade mentioned that briefly, and that's just happening as we speak. We just had a meeting with the General Counsel and some other folks yesterday, working on how to really implement those federal directives. The way in which that's going to impact you is when we try to implement that. There's going to be additional training required. Some of the policies and procedures that we have right now might have to change. And that will mean that we'll have to review some of the ways in which we've done business on some areas and adapt to the changes coming from the feds. So stay tuned on that. Couple of upcoming issues that we have. And this is arising out of some conversations that I had with folks on the faculty side. As you might know, the Faculty Senate changed their policies regarding grievances, and they have an ombudsperson system in place. I'm very big on alternative dispute resolution for grievances and disputes, so we'll be trying to see ways in which that can be implemented in some other settings here on campus. So you will be hearing perhaps some more discussion on ADR, ombudspersons, and ways in which we can resolve disputes without the need of having a formal grievance process, and just find ways for just to get along, basically. And that's my background as a mediator arbitrator. I did that for 7 years in Minnesota. And I can assure you that's the best way to resolve a dispute, is just to get people together in a room, talk about the issue, and find common ground to resolve it in a way that works for everyone. So with that, just want to thank you, and feel free to contact us if you have any questions or if you need any assistance with any issues regarding EO or sexual harassment, things like that. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. We do have microphones to bring to you so that you can ask your questions. I know we had a few others. So for the speakers that are still here, we have a little bit more time, I think, with our president. So please, what questions do you have? There's one.
My question's for Mary. Mary, I was just wondering if you could fill in a few details on the park. Sorry, it's Bobby. I was just wondering if you could fill us in on a few of the details about parking in terms of the transition and what you know. I'm sure there's some details you're still working on. Just in terms of timeline, when would staff need to make decisions about, you know, if they're paying for a decal, does everybody have to pay? I guess that's what I'm trying to understand.
Everyone will have to pay for a decal. Right now, we're working on maps of what lot should be where, and we'll be getting information out to you in plenty of time. Sarah Morris just brought over this afternoon the order for the hang tags. So we're just going to get started on that, and I think it'll work out just fine. And remember, you do not need a hang tag to park at 21st and Oliver or at the Metropolitan Complex unless you're a housing student.
But everyone has to pay still, right?
Yes.
Will the rates be changing for the faculty staff hang tags?
I don't think so. With all the changes that we're going to be doing, I don't think we need to get into that issue.
I'm not really sure who this should be directed to, but I live in Howard Hall, and I'm curious if anybody can really tell me about the promenade / walkway / whatever, in terms of where's it going to start and end?
What was the last question?
Where will it begin and end? Because we have a loading dock, and I realize this is kind of personal for the biology people, but I would just like to know if that will be back, or if that can be closed off, and do we have to rearrange things on a permanent basis?
I'll answer your last question first. Physical plant will be making arrangements so that if you have some items that need to be trucked into the campus, our staff in physical plant will meet the truck and actually bring it to the building, because some of the things are going to change with some of the pedestrian malls. What we'd like to do is keep the traffic to the outer part of the campus.
Okay, so so we will not have a loading dock any longer?
Here, Emily might want to say something here too.
That arrangement's temporary until the pedestrian walk promenade is done, and then all of the sidewalks on campus are actually rated for fire trucks. So we can continue to use the loading dock as our plan, is what I understand.
That doesn't sound like what Mary said.
We're actually still working on this with physical plant.
Okay, I mean, because we have, and you know, maybe, this is the first venue I've been at where I'm like, hey, these are people who might be able to answer my question. Because we have many more, besides deliveries, we use our loading dock on a daily basis for many, many, many things.
We have talked to Bill Hendry about that.
Okay. Other question is, I've been hearing little rumors going around about GIS accessibility on campus.
They're not rumors. We have a group of GIS people on campus who are very active and are very interested. And one of the things I've asked Tony to do as we go through this budget cycle is to try to get some assistance for them and to try to get some upgrades in software. Because the demand is there, the interest is there, and GIS affects so many disciplines and so many areas of the university that when you have a group of people who are already moving, it's time to help them and trying to help them move forward. So it is one of the things we're going to try to manage within the budget and the budget changes we do this year.
Can you tell us what GIS is?
Oh, sorry. GIS is Geographic Information Systems, and it's a very, very complex set of computer programs that allow you to map all sorts of phenomena, from subterranean water flows to the structure of cities to everything else in between. And it's a very powerful set of tools. They use them in my home discipline. They use them in geography, anthropology, biology, business. I mean, you know, it just cut healthcare. I mean, it just cuts across all sorts of areas of the university. But it's a very, very powerful set of computing tools.
So would that be a site license that we could access as
Yeah,
an apartment for students?
We have a site license now for certain things, as I understand it, but there's interest in upgrading the quality of the software that we have. It would be a site license-based software. And then also, I think there's some strong feelings that, given the complexity of this, there needs to be a staff member who really understands it, who kind of helps everybody else out. And so those are the two things we're really trying to work on. There was a really good planning process that we asked folks to engage in to bubble up what it was that would be needed. And Tony and I have been talking about that since he arrived. But I do feel like it was a great proposal, and we're going to try in this budget cycle to see what we can do to kind of push it forward.
FY14?
Yeah, but yeah, the budget cycle that is starting right now is we're getting ready to do budgets.
Thank you.
Other questions? Really?
Don't force these.
You don't know anyone? We haven't sang yet. Should we sing? I am not the one to lead, so. Yeah, Fanny's like, yeah, she's not.
How old are you, Tony?
Double nickel.
Would you have asked that question if it was a female then?
Nope.
Mary, I guarantee it, I would never ask.
Okay, so who's got a voice? Brett, are you a singer? You've got a microphone here.
I'll sing as well as I do for my kids.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tony. Happy birthday to you.
That was low.
And now you know I don't have any albums out for release.
So last call, any other questions? A couple things I wanted to mention to you all. Obviously, we're being recorded, so if there are folks who aren't able to be here, if you let them know that we'll get this recording out to the UP Senate website. Check out the website. That's where we have the agendas posted prior to each meeting. The Senate does meet on the third Tuesday of every month, and in an open meeting, you're welcome and encouraged to attend. The minutes for each meeting are there once they have been approved by the Senate at the meeting after, so there's a little bit of lag time there, but certainly read our minutes to keep up on the things that are going on. Francisco mentioned that we have two kind of ad hoc committees that have been set up and are going to be working, meeting a little bit yet before the end of this semester, and then working into next year to take a look at and make some recommendations on the UP grievance policy, as well as a policy related to evaluations of unclassified professionals on campus. So there'll be recommendations coming out of those groups and to the Senate, and then on to the proper channels there. So keep your eyes open for that. I also wanted to mention, I failed to mention when I introduced Brett, that he is president-elect, so when my time is done, I get to hand over the gavel that really doesn't exist to him at the end of our June meeting, so you'll be hearing more from him in the coming year. So thank you all so much for attending, and have a great weekend. And take some brown.